Hi everyone, I'm here to tell you about your next Greek Museum Curator project. We have so far picked a city-state and created a flag. We created a map of ancient Greece. You are currently working on a picto word for a government of your choice, one of the four that arose during ancient Greece. And now you are going to be creating some postcards, one from your pretend travels to Athens, and another from your pretend travel to Sparta. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about the things you need, things that are going to be uploaded for you. I'm going to show you some examples that will then have pictures of them for you as well on Google Classroom, and everything you need to know as well as how to take notes on the next chapter that you're going to be reading or listening to me read to you. So first off, the activity is going to be based off of chapter 27 in History Alive. So here's our book, History Alive. Chapter 27 is Life in Two City-States, Athens and Sparta. I have the PDF downloaded for you, as well as a voice recording of me reading it. I know you love that. It's your favorite. So follow along. Read the chapter, and then you're going to take notes. You can take notes however you like. Again, just like last chapter, if you'd like to take the notes in your history journal that you have, keep going with that. If you want to take it in a Google Doc or the one that you already started for chapter 26 and just add it to it, that's fine as well. Or maybe a separate one since you already uploaded or will be uploading your chapter 26 to Google Classroom for grading. There are many different ways of doing your notes as well. If you want to do visual notes, if you want to do Cornell notes, however you really want to do it, it's fine. I do have an example of what I think would work best for this chapter. Of course, I closed my book, but this chapter is set up very differently than a lot of the other chapters. It has four main sections eight sections, but four main topics. So you have the intro, which is a separate one from that, but then you have government for Athens, economy for Athens, education for Athens, and then women and slaves for Athens. And then it does the same cycle through of topics, but for Sparta. So I highly suggest that you start your notes with, and again, I think this is backwards for you, but your first page, and I'll have pictures of this for you online, would just have the title and then maybe a slash through the middle of the page. Have the top part talk about the basic information about Athens, and then the bottom, the basic information about Sparta from the first section, because that's just kind of overall, like, where are they located? What are they known for? And then I would make a T-chart where you have the first topic, government, and then you'd have Athens and Sparta information on both. So you'd have to flip-flop through the chapter, but then you have everything about government for the two city-states on one page, and then you'd flip the next page, and it would have economy for Athens and Sparta and education for Athens and Sparta, and then the last one would be women and slaves in Athens and Sparta. So you would read the 27.3 on Athenian government, and then you would go over to 27.7 Spartan government and do those two notes together, and then go back to the beginning with Athens and so forth. Or you could just go in order and then flip the pages. If that's too confusing for you and you want to do it a different way, that's fine. But again, I'll have a little image of what I did as an example. If we were in class together, that's how I would have you do your notes. I think it organizes it, makes it easier for you to see the major differences between the two. They were very, very different city-states. What you're going to do with that information is you are going to pretend like you lived during that time, and maybe you lived in the city-state that you chose for your flag, and you went and traveled to both Athens and Sparta, and you're sending home a postcard telling your family all about what you learned about that city-state. Or if you want to pretend like you lived in Athens and you go to travel to Sparta, you're sending a letter home, and then maybe you're going to pretend like you're somebody else who lived in Sparta and traveled to Athens and is writing home to Sparta, talking about how different their lives are. You can pretend in many different ways how this would work out to actually be. Just know that obviously there wasn't really postcards during that time or even a mail service. So there's going to be a mix of pretend and a mix of like realistic to it. So I want to start with what a postcard looks like. I don't know, some of us might not know what a postcard looks like. They're kind of a dying thing. They're not really sent as often as they used to be. I have 2 examples of postcards that were actually sent to me when I was a kid. This one was sent to me when I was a baby. My parents took my sister to Disneyland and left me behind with my grandma, and they sent me a postcard from Disneyland. So here's the front, covered in a picture, and then the back, usually split in the middle. You have a line, and on one side, usually the left side, is the message, dear blank, da 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 da, and then on the right side is the address, and then a postage stamp. Okay, then this one's the same thing, but it is I did it upside down, up and down, and then the back is side to side, but same idea. Left hand is the message. Right hand is the address, the stamp, and then this is like the postmark stamp that the post office would stamp on there saying they delivered it and when. This one was from my grandparents when they visited Washington, D.C. I was 5 when this was sent to me. So these are real life postcards. You're going to be creating one because remember the whole idea here is that you're pretending like you are a museum curator who has found these primary source documents that you're going to put into a museum display. The map is a found object. The picto chart, remember I said was a created object because you as the historian, as the Greek curator, were trying to come up with a way of showing the current world what type of governments were around during that time. So this would have been like you're this Greek curator and you're going around talking to other historians and social scientists to find things to put in your museum display. So you have found, but really you're going to make it, these postcards. So I have some examples that I want to show you that were made by students in the past. Again, I'm going to have pictures of these because there are different ways of you doing these. So you can do this digitally. There are a lot of templates for postcard making out there that you can use. I'm totally okay with that. And images from Google are fine as well. Just make sure you don't have like a watermark all over it or it's really blurry when you zoom or pull the picture bigger. Those are my only things about computer pictures. Or you can do them by hand and you can age them if you'd like as well. So I have a few different examples. These two, so welcome. Oh, you're gonna have to make sure you have a some kind of slogan on it. So we've talked about slogans before, but the idea of that what are they known for? What are these places known for? So some of these examples don't have a slogan on them because they were older examples, but I would like for you to have some kind of slogan on there and the name of the city-state on the front, okay? I know my Disneyland example doesn't say anything on the front. It does say it on the back, but usually you would see the name on the front and then some kind of slogan, okay? So we have welcome to Sparta, and then they have the Spartan helmet, and then on the back they've typed, and it looks like they probably used a template for postcard making for this because it has the line, and then they made a little image as their postage stamp, and then there's a date up here. They made up an address, Olive Tree Road. They wouldn't have really had addresses back then. And don't worry about the underline part. We used to have them underline facts. You're going to make up a Greek name. You can look those up online. And then you need to have 5 to 7 specific facts on those 4 topics from each city-state. So including government, economy, education, women, and slaves. Making sure you have 5 to 7 facts, okay? And then if you look, here's the welcome to Athens. And I know if you look at this, this is a picture of Athens now. Actually, no, this one looks like it's one that was hand-drawn and or like an image that was painted to create what it would have looked like. But a lot of these examples I have are going to show you like what Athens looks like now, and obviously that's not historically accurate either. Not that big of a deal, just try your best, okay? And then on the back, same idea, a little less information here, and this is a little off, the address is a little off, but that postage stamp looks beautiful, okay? I have a few others. This one is a hand-created, but still looks just as amazing as a picture that was taken off of line. But they chose to do the back where the letter was typed up, the message, which I think looks great because then you don't have to worry about handwriting teeny tiny amounts on a small piece of paper, but they drew little other parts to it. So they drew the front by hand, typed up the message, and then did the rest by hand. Same with Sparta. Sparta, where true men are born. That's their slogan for this one. Oh, and Athens was Athens, brains is brawn. And then the back, very similar, hand-drawn little postage stamp. I also have some that look a little less real, like historically accurate as far as like aging process, but if you don't have the time or the material to be able to age yours at home, that's fine too, okay? And then on the back, looking like this. So I will put lots of examples online for you to look at, and I will also have your checkoff list. 2 postcards, one from Athens, one from Sparta. You're using correct format for postcards. You're putting 5 to 7 specific facts on the postcard per postcard. So 5 to 7 facts per postcard. 5 to 7 facts about Sparta, 5 to 7 facts about Athens. They need to include information about government, economy, education, women, and slaves. Okay? And then 2+ art mediums if you're doing it by hand, please, if you can. And then additional attributes, you can age it if you'd like. I do want you to make sure you have a stamp on the top in that little corner, that you have a made-up address, that you have a salutation that you say, "Dear so-and-so," or "My lovely bride," blah, blah, blah. Try to make it sound like it's meaningful, because you wouldn't have sent something like that home to somebody really ever if it was somebody that you didn't really care about. Talk about those different subjects, how you miss them, make it sound like you actually care about that person, and then have it addressed at the bottom, the salutation at the bottom, "Sincerely," or "Your love," or "Your father," or whatever, whoever it's from, and make up another Greek name. They can also be postcards that were sent from that person to this person, and this person to send it back to that person. Maybe they're just friends who live in different city-states. And then make sure you have that slogan on the front, okay? So I will be making sure to upload everything you need. I will have a step-by-step written out for you directions on Google Classroom, and happy postcard making. Thank you.